Like squirrel? Saludos and salutations, Broncos Country, and welcome back into another exciting episode of Broncos Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got a banger for you guys today. I have with me the privilege and honor to be able to interview the man that you guys saw on the Jumbotron at Mile High. The Bronco Libre is here to tell us everything that went on. He had awesome seats. He got to meet a lot of really cool people this weekend. And again, he was on TV, not just this TV, but an even bigger TV. So we're going to hear all about his experience he had at the game, being hooked up and being one of the greatest hash browns I've ever seen. Let me tell you. Also, we're going to bring you everything that happened this past weekend with the Dallas Cowboys, the butt whooping that they got over the weekend. And of course, your favorite segment, Broncos Overtime, is coming back. And we'll also cover the upcoming game, which is going to be a little bit tougher against those pesky Houston Texans. So ladies and gentlemen, please make sure your food is warm, your beer is cold, and that you're comfortable as hell, because you are not going to want to miss a single episode of today's show. And with that being said, how about them Broncos? And welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adan Diaz, and I am one half of your co-host with you today. To my left or right, depending on which direction you're watching, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor. It is my pleasure to bring you guys the man, the myth, the legend, Bronco Libre.
What's happening, Broncos Country? What a phenomenal game that we had this past weekend. Can't wait to talk about it here today. And today's episode, man, it's super exciting. Just the experience of what I was able to experience this weekend was phenomenal. Can't wait to talk about it. It's going to be awesome.
You know, I didn't give you the standard Libre because I felt I needed to put some respect in your name. And the amount of attention you got this past weekend was phenomenal. The only thing you were missing were some football pads. That's the only thing you were missing.
Right? I'll agree with you. Like I was telling you, like my seats got upgraded for this in particular game this weekend. And let me tell you, if I was any closer to the field itself, I would have been sitting right next to Dak Prescott and ready to go in there and just tackle him on the sideline there.
Just tell him how garbage he is. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Pinche trash, como estaban diciendo este fin de semana. Puro pinche trash.
Puro pinche trash. We're going to get to more of Libre's encounters and adventures he had at Mile High this weekend. But before we do that, if this is your first time here, welcome. If not, welcome back. Got a couple of things we got to get out of the way for you guys just before we get started with all of the awesomeness that we provide here on a daily basis for you, weekly basis, I should say, not daily, here on the Orange and Blue Network. So we're asking for you, please, to subscribe if you haven't done so already, share, comment, and like on this and all of the other videos and programs we have here on the network. In case you guys haven't heard from our awesome boss, Johnny Baki, there are a lot of great projects and things coming down the pipeline, and we cannot wait to share them with you. Of course, as always, your support is always appreciated here with us. If there's something you hear me and Libre talk about that you don't agree with, please, by all means, feel free to hit us up in the comment section. Let us know what your thoughts are, what you agree and don't disagree with, and we will reply accordingly. For those of you listening to us on audio, if you're not able to join us here live at the moment, no problem. Regardless of what platform you're listening to, 5-star reviews are always well appreciated. If you'd like to screenshot it and send it to us so we can shout you guys out here on the air. we're more than happy to do so. Our socials there are at the bottom of your screen if you're not able to see it. Our Twitter handles are mine is at a 6'10" Mexican. Bronco Libre is at Bronco Libre 5280. For any business inquiries, you can email at broncostalk2020 at gmail.com. Also, we'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of today's show and all the shows here on the network, which is Dubby. Basically, it's no sugar, no calories, no maltodextrin, no fillers, and no artificial colors. As Libre and I like to say, it's all the good stuff without all the bad. Basically, it was formulated with nothing but amino acids, B vitamins, and nootropics, including the patented neurofactor formula, and the caffeine is derived directly from the coffee fruit. And to show you guys how awesome Dubby and the guys over at the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast are, they want to hook you up with a free 10% discount when you use the code OBN10 at checkout for your final order. Again, that code is OBN10 to get your 10% off at checkout. Shout out to Dubby for being a sponsor of this and all the shows here on the network, and for the guys over at the Nothing Rhymes with for hooking you, me, and Libre up with that amazing offer. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the network, we have a plethora of shows for you to catch up on. In case you haven't realized it, folks, we are literally at the halfway point of the season. It's kind of crazy. It feels like week 1 was just yesterday, and Libre and I are getting ready to discuss week 9. I mean, how time flies, let me tell you.
Wait, week 9 already? Wait. That is crazy. Like, how fast? Like, we wait so long for the season to start. And then now that you think about it, it's like we're already halfway through.
That's
like
right, Caballero.
crazy to think.
It's crazy, my friend.
Crazy.
So here's the show schedule for the remainder of the second half, I should say, of the show. Please keep in mind that all the times that I'm going to mention are in Mountain. First off, we have the Orange and Blue, Blitz, which airs every Monday and Friday at 11 a.m. On Mondays at 7 p.m., we have the Broncos Bros. So make sure that you even Bronco, bro. You know what I'm saying? Every Tuesday at 7:30, we have the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast, which is the flagship show. Every Wednesday at 2:30, we have the Mile High Symposium with Doc and JT. Also, if you're interested and you're more than just a Broncos fan and you like the Nuggets and the Avalanche, they got you covered. And when Wednesdays at 6, of course, it's Broncos Talk, the current show you're watching. And then we have a new show coming soon at Thursdays at 7, which is the Mahai Outcast. Can't wait for you guys to check that out when it airs. Also, we have on Friday the only Spanish podcast, which is Viva los Broncos. And for any fresh squeeze, is the breaking news show. So whenever any breaking Broncos news hits the airwaves, Fresh Squeeze will be right on the air to talk about everything that's going on at the moment. And then, of course, every pregame, we have the play-by-play Get Buck pregame show. And we also have the postgame Buck Your Feelings postgame show every single game day. So, guys, make sure you hit that little notification button on the side of your subscribe button so that you never miss out on a moment of the action. Also, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick side note for you. We will not be doing Viva Los Broncos this Friday because it is Halloween. So we're going to be taking the day off. So Viva Los Broncos will not air this Friday. We will be back next Friday for Viva Los Broncos with Bronco Libre. Next Friday isn't, or next Friday. The next game isn't a home game, is it, Libre? When they play the
Raiders.
The Raiders, or is that in Las Vegas?
It is. No, it's here Thursday night here in the Mile High City.
Oh, okay. I was trying to make sure not to get ahead of myself. But Libre, you got a very first-hand look at what we saw on Sunday. And let me tell you, after that first interception, Libre, and you can start off with that or you can start off with your experience at the game. Doesn't really matter. But after that first interception, Libre, I got to tell you, I was really nervous because we don't rarely see mistakes happen like that from Bo Nix. And I get it. It was a miscommunication between him and the wide receiver. Wide receiver didn't even see the ball. Ball was thrown behind him. Wasn't even a catchable ball. What was the feeling in the stadium after that first game? Or after that first play, I'm sorry, that interception.
So that first drive, going into that, like, right away we're like, what the heck happened? Like, why was he throwing it behind him? And just we didn't understand it there within the stadium itself, like how people are watching on TV and you see those type of replays, or especially the commentating itself. But
Mhm.
in the stadium, like we're like, oh my god, look what just happened. Bo threw behind him. Why is he throwing behind? And again, like how you said, we didn't find out. I didn't find out until after the game. Like it was a total miscommunication between him and Pat Bryant. I think it was Pat Bryant that he was trying to throw it to, and right away it was like, okay, our defense now has to step up. This is the going against the number one offense in the league, the number one scoring offense in the league right now, and they need to show up and make sure that they shut them out. Especially that first drive, it was going to be scary. I was like, damn, this offense is like for real, because they marched it down pretty well. And then being able to just hold them to that field goal right away, I told my son and my buddy right next to me, I said, hey, this is already a huge win for us. We stopped them from actually getting a touchdown and only letting them get the 3 points. I go, this is going to be key. And I feel that that itself, the defense itself, just in that opening drive for them, set the tone, saying, "Look, you're not. It's not going to be easy like how you guys been doing it all season long and getting into the end zone. They that you're going to have to work for it today." And they worked them really well, and that was the best part.
I mean, after I saw that, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, Libre. I did start to freak out because I'm like, there's no way we can start off like this. Like for some reason, the Broncos just have this thing where they either go three and out, or they throw an interception, or they just haven't been able to march down the field right off the bat when they start off with the ball and just put up points and kind of let the other team know like, hey, you either got to match us point for point or we're gonna run all over you. So I will say I was, especially after that drive, Libre Pickens, they got to the red zone. And I'm like, man, it's going to be a Javante just, kind of game. And even while Javante did have only 2 touchdowns, Libre, he did not run buck wild on the Broncos. So I will say that I will take that because it wasn't something where, Javante just kind of ran buck wild and, the Broncos defense gave up like 200 rushing yards, especially with Dre
Correct.
Greenlaw out for this game. So, um, again, I have no ill will towards Javante. I still wish him the best, but this was a game where the defense definitely did not let him run amok and made sure that he didn't run wild. But after that one, Libre, I kind of feel like the floodgates just completely opened and it felt like something in the offense snapped because we finally saw what we've been wanting to see for the longest time. And that, of course, was RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey was just kind of like playing like a man possessed. And before we get into that, Libre, want to just get into some of the people we have here in the chat. Your cousin Juan Marquez saying,
Primo,
what's happening?
what's happening?
Mahai Medlock saying, what's up, fellas? Bronco victory week rolls on. Definitely,
See, let's
definitely.
go.
Yeah, Shy Vargas saying PS2 is out. That sucks. Couldn't agree more. D Rock saying, hey, Don and Libre.
D Rock in the house. Let's go.
So, and then what your cousin was basically saying, what I was trying to lead up to, what a game, belt to ass. Broncos dominated the whole game. And they definitely did, Juan. And after that RJ Harvey run, there was just something that I don't know if you could feel it in Mile High, Libre, but it was something that we had not seen in a long time. And that's just basically the Broncos offense leading the drive. It wasn't the defense going out there and getting 9 sacks or, 4
Mhm.
interceptions. It was the offense telling the defense, hey, catch up. you know,
No, and it was absolutely, and I feel like just especially that second drive with him running 40 yards untouched to the touchdown, which was the best thing ever, and it's just showing you that you know what we're here to play and we're going to be punching you in the mouth. And that's exactly what they did all game long. And it was all phases of the game, too, as well. It was offense. Our defense then started to show up and started to shut them out. And then our special teams. Like that was the best part of it, too, is that all phases of the football itself for the game was spectacular for the Broncos. And it was like, this is how you play football now. Like, now let's do it week in and week out, guys.
Agreed. One thing we have to talk about, Libre, and it's something that a lot of people are kind of still divided on. The most recent one, like Unk. I know he was watching the game, and I know he's a Broncos fan through and through. You know, he won 2 Super Bowl championships with Denver. But Shannon Sharp leaned in really heavily on Riley Moss. Basically, at one point, at one tweet, he called for Riley Moss to be pulled out of the game because of the flags that were put against him. Now, let me just say that while Riley Moss he got flagged and penalized. Yeah, that definitely needs to be cleaned up. There's no argument there about that. But on the other hand, Libre, especially when PS2 went down, he was able to hold up his own against George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, 2 wide receivers who before that game were starting to be like the best offense in the entire league, regardless of conference. And they were supposed to go into Denver and they were supposed to light up the scoreboard just like they did against the Commanders and the Giants before them. But they didn't do it. They had absolutely no, like they had yards, but it wasn't like big game yards. It wasn't touchdowns. That look on the bench towards the end of the game, like Pickens and CeeDee Lamb looking like 2 kids that just got punished by their parents, will definitely live in infamy because it was just a testament as to, yes, Riley Moss will struggle and he'll make mistakes, but he didn't give up. Now that last touchdown by Turpin, I gotta say that ball was put in a place where Riley Moss couldn't defend it, man. And Turpin's a fast dude. That kid is fast, so
Yeah.
he just got beat. It is what it is. But when it came to guarding, Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, Libre, Riley Moss did his job, and like I said, the laundry, the flags, they got to be cleaned up, obviously. But one of those pass interference was not on Riley Moss.
That second one, yeah, the second one that was late in the game itself was not a DPI at all. Like he was not on, like especially the ref. If you go back and look at that play, and the ref had no view of anything showing a defensive pass interference at all. So, and even in the stadium, seeing it in the stadium, they're like, there's no way that you could call that DPI at all. But being able to see like the replay, and then I came home and rewatched some of the highlights or whatever, and especially that one was like a big one too. And a lot of commentators, even on the Cowboys side, like a lot of Cowboy fans were even saying too, like, yeah, that's not a DPI, but we'll take it. Of course you're going to take it because now you're at the 1 yard line. But I just lost my train of thought. But itself, but look at this. What did Riley Moss be able to do this weekend that nobody really thought was going to happen this weekend? Because like how you said earlier, Pickens and Lamb being one of the top receivers in the league and what they've been able to do up until that game is get into the end zone. And what happened? Neither one of them reached the end zone at all. So going back, even like the crazy thing about this, I don't know if you saw this with Aqib Talib talking about, man, I need to get number 21's jersey because he is playing like a dog right now. He is a dog. And if you have a former 21 of the Broncos talking about that right now, saying that he needs a jersey of the current player right now because of the way he's playing, like Riley Moss has been playing very well. And I know he gets a lot of hate because of some of the plays that are happening, some of the DPIs that he gets and so forth. But if you look at the overall numbers that he has right now, he's one of the best corners in the league right now, which is ridiculous with the number of attempts going to his way.
Yeah. So again, I understand it. Broncos fans, we don't like to see. And up until I even said it in my halftime bulletin points, Libre, the Broncos in the first half played a really clean game. I don't think they got penalized one time. And then going into the second half, that's when the flags were starting to fly. Now, we do have to talk about this PS2 injury, Libre, because I know we all held our breath when he first went down with when he was holding his shin. I'm pretty sure everybody on Mile High around you, same
Oh,
thing.
we were at first we didn't know who it was. Like the angle that I was sitting at, because I was on the 50-yard line right behind the Cowboys bench. And the angle that it looked like, we didn't know if it was PS2 or if it was Jonathan Cooper. And like we didn't actually see it until he went into the blue tent. So we're like, who is that? Who? And then when we saw that it was PS2, I was like, oh man, like we're gonna be in trouble now that he's out, and with these two, with Pickens and Lamb out there. And then we saw him back out there, and we're like, okay, we're relieved, we're good. But then he went out with that second injury where it was the shoulder. And like we have to think is like, hopefully it's just temporary. Hopefully maybe he's just out for the rest of this game and we'll get him back next week for Houston. But now it came out that he's possibly out 4 to 6 weeks, maybe now, and he's not even on the Broncos are declining to put him on the IR. So that only tells us that that's even a better best case scenario for him as well. Fingers crossed that he comes back for the KC game. Hopefully he's healthy enough where we can play when we play KC here. If not, I think we can survive, but will be really helpful if we do have him for KC.
I think I heard them say that they have him slated to come back for the Commanders after the Broncos bye week.
Well, that's
That's
also
what I
4 weeks too. So if
Yeah.
they were really concerned about that, and it could be like, yes, they're putting that out there for the Commanders game. That is 4 weeks, and if that's the case, put them on IR. But they're not. So part of it is depending on how well he progresses throughout the next couple of weeks, and if he can get healthy enough. Good questionable if we can get him Casey. I feel like we'll be okay without him this weekend, and then also next Thursday as well when we play the Raiders. I think we're going to be okay for these 2 weeks. The only one I is concerned about is KC game,
Kansas City, yeah.
because yeah, that's the only week that I would have any concern, and that's why I feel why they didn't place him on the official IR itself, because of that. Yes, that we have that bye week, which is a blessing in disguise for us right now, where it's only technically we'll be missing 3 games. That's really 4 games itself. And that's why that talks is with him coming back for the Commanders game.
I mean, I've watched that play like 100 times, Libre. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I can't tell how the hell he got hurt. It's not like he got slammed into the ground or he crashed into somebody. It almost looks like it was like a non-contact injury, Libre.
And it's just the way that possibly how he fell, and just the angle itself, because it's originally we thought it was a shoulder injury, but it's really the pectoral itself. So, and it could have just strained it somehow. It got it jammed, or and again, like, yeah, it's just weird how it is. But if you look at the play as well, week one with Travis Kelsey and Xavier Worthy, you see how they crashed into each other. You're like, damn, how did he get injured so bad? Like, it didn't look that bad. Again, you know, it's the way that injuries happen, little things happen. Just like when you pull your hamstring just going up the stairs, remember?
I pulled my hamstring.
Yeah, didn't we talk about that? I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, if I pull my hamstring, I'm in a wheelchair or crutches probably for the rest of my life, because these parts, they don't make them anymore, man.
Right?
So I have to be careful. But I'm trying to think of what was the backup's name, Libre, that came in for PS2 in the second half. His name escapes me.
Chris Abrams-Drain.
Thank you, Abrams-Drain. So Abrams-Drain was getting also criticized because he was kind of not covering. But it's like, hey, you know how hard it is to have to be the backup to PS2, the reigning defensive player of the year? Those are really big shoes to fill. And even though Abrams did struggle at times, he did not give up a touchdown in the end zone. So he is probably going to have that same type of attention put on him this coming week up against the Texans. But that also depends on who's going to be lined up to guard Nico Collins. I think that Riley Moss is going to be tasked with Nico Collins. I think he's a much better suit for him. And not trying to get ahead of talking about the Texas game, but the fact that the Cowboys struggled, and that's the fact that the Broncos did not have Dre Greenlaw, Libre. I can only imagine how much worse it would have been for them if Greenlaw would have been able to suit up for this game and play against Dallas. But to be able to rattle those Cowboys and literally send them packing was probably one of the greatest karmic things I have seen so far this year. And almost every single Cowboys fan I can think of could do nothing but just shut the hell up and just complain about it on TikTok.
Well, and part of it as well, it's like everywhere I looked at, videos that I've seen and all that, or people were doing reactions to the game, is like they understand that their defense sucks. They understand that so well. Like, here we go again. Like, here it is again. Like when RJ Harvey went all the way for 40 yards and without being touched. They're like, man, like we really do suck. And they're going back to Jerry. It's like, look at what you did and not having Michael Parsons because of that. And I feel that that has a big reason is because you gave away your star away to the Packers, you know, and they I feel like now that we're 8 weeks in, they understand that their offense has to continue to play very well. If they don't do that, and if they're not shooting out people, their defense is not holding it up and winning games. Even what was it the other day or actually today at work, one of my coworkers, she's a Cowboys fan. She goes, now I really truly see why they say defense wins championships.
Yeah, and the most ironic thing, Libre, is the fact that Jerry Jones and every single NFL analyst, when it's like, because we're almost to the trade deadline, Libre, which is it's a nice segment into the next topic.
Yep.
But that they're saying that the Cowboys need a pass rusher, which is the most ironic thing. And I said to everybody within the sound of my voice, if the Cowboys couldn't even work out a deal to pay Micah Parsons to stay as their best pass rusher, what makes you think that Jerry Jones is going to go out there and wheel and deal and go out and get supposedly they wanted Max Crosby? You would have to give up Dak and like half of your offense to get a guy like Max Crosby to come to Dallas. And even then, that defense is way, way, way off from just one piece. So even if you did have Micah Parsons still on the Cowboys, Libre, that is not enough to fix everything that's wrong with that Cowboys defense. And all of that started when Dan Quinn left. And
Yeah.
Matt Eberflus was definitely not the right choice. And I don't know what the hell they saw. I don't know if Jerry Jones saw what Eberflus did here when he was the head coach in Chicago. But the fact that he was able to give him the defensive coordinator job, and what made me laugh, Libre, is I don't think they showed at the stadium, but Tony Rowe, they put up a graphic next to Eberflus, and the Cowboys are last in every single defensive stat except for, I think, pass rush. Or not pass rush or rush against. I forget, one of those stats was like 30th, but the other three was like 32, 32, 32. And
Oh
it's
wow.
like, it's not Eberflus's fault because the defense was like that when it got here. It's probably gotten worse. So the fact that he's still on there, and don't be surprised if Eberflus stays on the team for like another year before Jerry Jones finally fires him. But there are so many issues with that defense, Libre. One person is not going to solve it. That needs to be completely gutted and rebuilt from the ground up.
No, I agree with you as well. But again, you have a bona fide superstar that's on there. And when you have that type of player as well that is out there and who is that top notch player for you, he helps elevate the other players' play as well. big example. If we're talking, let's talk about basketball, and you're like how you say about your Bulls or whatever. But if you truly look at the Nuggets, look at what Joker does for his other team, the other players on the team itself. He just helps them elevate their play because they just want to play so much better for him while he's out there. Like that's part of it as well. You need to have that guy that's there that's going to help you, the others around them, elevate their play, and those other players will do that because that they don't want to disappoint their teammate. And I feel that that's what Parsons did for the Cowboys. And now that he's no longer there, who are they really looking up to on the defensive side to help elevate that play right now? There's no one. I don't feel that there's anyone for them right now.
Well, let me just say that the disrespect that's been put on Bo Nix has to stop. Okay, because they cannot keep overseeing what Bo Nix has been doing. Right now, Bo Nix leads the quarterback class of last year in
Mhm.
touchdowns. The
By
only person
12.
by 12, correct. The only other person behind him, I think, is Jaden Daniels, and then
Yeah, yeah,
Drake.
because I think Bo has 52 touchdown passes and
Mhm.
Jaden Daniel has like 40.
Yeah, and then it's Drake May and then Caleb Williams, the quote unquote generational talent at the bottom of that tier list, who, mind you, went first round. Bo Nix was literally the last pick out of all those quarterbacks, and he's the one that's flourishing the most. Now, I will say to Jaden Daniels' credit, unfortunately, he's been injured. So that's really been hindering his being able to assess him because he hasn't played a full season like he did last year. However, when he was on the field, he didn't look anything like he did last year. The Commanders have not looked anywhere near the world beaters they look like last year and what people were expecting them to be this year. But again, injuries this year, Libre, have been rampant all over the league in a lot of different teams, more than normal, I would say, especially if you play fantasy football. You know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but just to kind of go over the topic of trades, Libre, a lot of people are speculating that the Broncos are in the market for a wide receiver, which I'm totally in agree with. Me and you talked about this during the offseason.
Yeah.
But then there are other people that think that the Broncos should go out and get another tight end, like Mark Andrews
Mercedes,
or
like
David
Mercedes
Njoku.
Lewis.
And then when I read the news about Lewis, like I shook my head because I gave so much crap to my friends who are Bears fans because Lewis was with them for a while and he didn't really do anything because he didn't fit their scheme. So I don't really see how Mercedes Lewis coming to Denver, even if he gets elevated, does anything. I know they have him because of the injuries to Nate Atkins and Lucas Kroll, but it's like I don't know. I think a lot of people are still disappointed in the fact that Evan Ingram is not coming around as advertised as the Joker and all that. So I
You
don't
know
think.
what? Like going back to that right real quick, I feel that Sean Payton has not used Evan Ingram in the proper position and like what he should be doing for this team. Because once he does get the ball, look what he's been able to do. Like he's been able to get those hard yards, get us those first downs, been able to do that. But the problem is, I don't think Sean Payton is actually doing any type of play setups for him particularly. And if he does, I feel like Evan Ingram can be that guy, that Joker. It's just he hasn't done it yet. And I think that's the more uh concerning thing, just why he's not there. For me as a fan of being Bronco Libre, being able to see that and like, let's use the Evan Ingram, why you brought him in here. And he hasn't done it yet for some reason.
Yeah, and Jay Weaver jumping in saying, "Gentlemen, I hope you're having a great week. The wide receiver room is full, no room at the inn. LOL. I want more volume for Brian and Franklin, not another mouth to feed." Now,
I agree.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there, Jay,
Ooh.
because you have a point where you're saying the wide receiver room is full. However, the Broncos do not have a true wide receiver one. You have to remember that Cortland Sutton is 30 years old. and he is going into, what is it, year 1 or year 2 of his contract extension, something like that. So, and we saw that pass that hit him. It's crazy because I was telling this to my best friend as well. The passes that Courtland Sutton should be able to make, like, he doesn't make. But if you ask him to catch one upside down or tippy toe or backflip or whatever, he can make those. And it is hair pullingly painful when you see the ball hit him right in the chest or in the hands and he doesn't catch it. So if the Broncos really want to be contenders, you have to give Bo Nix weapons. Guys like Mark Andrews and David Njoku are talented tight ends, but from what I read, they're not blocking tight ends. And that's really what Sean Payton is kind of looking for, especially because he likes to run all these wide receiver screens and stuff. So he didn't really do a lot of that this past week, thank God. But the last couple of games, we saw he ran almost more wide receiver screens than he did any freaking thing on the field. So guys like Pat Bryant and Troy Franklin, they're going to be fine. Okay. You have to remember that Pat Bryant is a rookie. He had probably the best game of the season so far for him this past weekend. Troy Franklin going into a sophomore year is coming along just nicely. Mims is kind of getting lost in that scuff right now, and he could be out for this weekend's game, Libre, with a concussion. So that's something to monitor. But there is definitely room for another wide receiver if the Broncos go out and get it. Now, with that being said, it has to be somebody that if the Broncos are going to swing for the fences, that they're able to retain for longer than just a season. So it's going to have to be somebody younger than Sutton, obviously, and somebody that can flourish with this team and can possibly stay with the team for a little bit longer if the gameplay excels and helps elevate Bo Nix's game. Because at the end of the day, Courtland Sutton is, I'm pretty sure, is getting close. We're close to the end of his career in Denver. If it's not next year, it could be the year after. He could get traded. We've already seen that with this new management group, Libre, nobody here is safe. Regardless of how long you've been here, regardless of what your last name is, nobody is safe. Everybody is expendable. So Jay Weaver jumps in, and then I'll turn it over to you, Libre. Mims is way more disappointing, in my opinion. I'd agree with a move if we consolidate the room and go get a high-profile number 2. I'm all good. I just don't want another fringe wide receiver that reduces Bryant and Franklin. That would definitely be part of it. Don't be surprised if the Broncos do something like trade wide receivers, like send Courtland Sutton somewhere else and get a younger version, or deal him for a draft pick. Like, it can happen, Jay, but again, it would have to be something that contemplates the fact that it's whoever they decide to go get, if it's a wide receiver, that is going to elevate Bo Nix's gameplay, and it's going to give him more opportunities to throw the ball. Again, I'm okay with either wide receiver, a good tight end, Libre, but it has to make sense, and it can't be just the Broncos just trading just because.
No, I agree with you. And I had somebody here on TikTok as well. I put up a question about a rumor about the Broncos being interested in Jacoby Myers as well. So
Mhm.
again, I still like, I haven't seen that rumor until that was just said there on TikTok. But I have to agree with Jay though. I like, with me personally, I like where our wide receiver room is at. And I just feel like we just need to get them the ball and get them more acclimated. I feel like they just need to get out there and just start playing and actually making plays. And if once that starts happening, I feel that this weekend was an indication of that itself, that they're going to be there. Yes, Cortland Sutton missed that wide open that was right in his hands. It happens, whatever the case may be. We could have put 50 points if we would have had that right there on Dallas. And I was hoping that we did, because the last time when we played them, I think I can't remember what it was. Like, I heard it's been 30 years since the Cowboys have even beat the
Mhm.
Broncos. So, but there's a couple of games where we did put up 50 points against them. So I feel like secretly Sean Payton wanted to do it, but then we put in Stidham there to nail it there at the end of the game. But I feel like if there is a wide receiver that's out there, we have to, like how you said, like the room is full. We can't do any more without it. It has to be like receiver for receiver or something like that. But if not, I like our room. They're gonna come through. I feel like they're just now starting to hit their stride, and it's just like coming to kind of like last year. If you're thinking about it, is that yes, we started off the season slow, but they're starting to get used to the game plans and getting used to the 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 used to each other, at this point. Even though I know they should be already done that throughout OTAs and doing all that, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And again, you have to remember that these game plans do change week to week and so forth. So it's not always going to be the same scenario. This week, we're going to play a better defensive unit in Houston. So the game plan is going to be way different than what we just saw this weekend itself. So um, overall, wide receivers, I feel like if we can do something with what we have now and don't worry about a receiver, I'm going to be okay with it. But it has to be something big. And like Cal J was saying, if it's a good wide receiver number 2 or whatnot that's going to be coming in, then let's see what we can do about it. But I feel we're going to be good on that aspect of it.
Yeah. It's just kind of see, and that's the beautiful thing, that to be able to talk about the Broncos being buyers and not sellers, like we've been talking about them for like the last 9 years before Bo Nix and Sean Payton got here, because it almost felt like everybody was saying, not just sell the team through, through the owners, just sell the team, like break it all down and build it back up, type of thing. So it feels really nice to be able to sit here and discuss with you guys who the Broncos should get at the deadline. Jacoby Myers, I think everybody learned their lesson from what the Browns and the Bengals did. Everybody laughed at the Browns for sending Joe Flacco to the Bengals, because it's like an unwritten rule in a sense, Libre. You don't trade within your division. If free agency and non-negotiable free agents and all that, that's a whole different story. But you don't send players to a rival divisional team, and then when you play them and then they excel in that, if they excel in that team, then it just makes you look like a fool. So unfortunately, I don't see the Raiders trading anybody to Denver. They'd much rather let Jacoby Myers go or cut him during the off season, and if Denver wants to go get him then so be it. But I think I saw Jacoby Myers supposedly linked to the Steelers. That's who I saw in a hypothetical situation where they're saying that the Steelers need another wide receiver to complement DK Metcalf out there and give some help to Aaron Rodgers. So, but yeah, Pete Carroll or whoever the front office is up there would be a fool to trade away Jacoby Myers to Denver or to the Chiefs, or to even the Chargers, even though the Chargers don't really need one. But yeah, they're not doing that. But Libre, we got to talk about this upcoming matchup against Houston. You mentioned a few minutes ago that the defense from the Texans is a whole lot tougher than what the Cowboys have in store. And you're totally right. And the only reason the Texans haven't won more games is the fact that their offense is just not good, Libre. Even though they
talking
have
about it earlier, like how you're talking about Nico Collins and so forth. Nico Collins is dealing with an injury as well. I think it's a hamstring too. So when you were bringing that up earlier, I don't feel like he's going to be as a threat as what he was last year when he beat it when Houston beat us last year as well. This year is going to be a whole different story. They're not the team that they used to be. CJ Stroud is not that guy like how he was his rookie year. He's just been downhill since. But again, they could always be where they just happen to have our number. But we have to go out there and like right away smash mouth football. And this is one thing is with our defense, it's so ramped up differently from last year. And now that yes, we do have Greenlaw back now, I do feel like even with PS2 being out this week, I don't think Nico Collins is going to be a big factor in this game itself. And I do think that Riley Moss is going to lock him down in cell block E.
Well, you're totally right, because this offense doesn't look anywhere near what it did last year. Last year, they had Tank Dell, they had Stephon Diggs. And, this year, neither of those guys are with the Texans. Unfortunately, Tank Dell If I'm not mistaken, Libre, I think his NFL career could be over with from that injury he
That
suffered.
that was a nasty injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of him as well, or haven't heard anything, and of course, I haven't been in the know with it either because I haven't reached out. I haven't reached out or looked on any type of internet site or whatever about him because he's not on my team. I can care less. Not that I don't care if you are healthy or not, but like I can care. You're not part of my team, so
Mm-hmm. No, we understand your sentiment, but again, uh, the running backs, Woody something. I can't remember his last name, and Nick Chubb is just a shell of himself. So
oh yeah,
I was pushing. I know I was pushing for him to come to Denver earlier during free agency, Libre, and you were on the opposite. You wanted Dobbins, and you got Dobbins, and it's starting to look like you were right. Dobbins so far has been the better choice for Denver than if it would have been Nick Chubb. Maybe I was seeing
absolutely.
something. Maybe I was seeing something in him that unfortunately I thought was no longer there. Um, so with Greenlaw back for this game, I'm not worried about the running game, Libre. I think that the running game is probably going to be probably worse than what it was uh, last week. I forgot who they played, but it's definitely and CJ Stroud has definitely in year 3 has looked nothing Libre to what he was year 1 2 years ago when he came into the league and he lit the league up, and he was a touchdown machine. And then so far, like the games that the Texans have been winning, Libre, have been winning because of their defense. Their defense has been trying to keep them into the games, even the games that they've lost, like that one against Seattle. If you go back and see that game, like CJ Stroud couldn't put the ball where it needed to be to get a touchdown. And the Texans lost that game because they were just unable to put up points on the board, And Seattle is not an easy place to go in and win in either, Libre. And that team is playing hard football as well. So,
Yeah.
um, so this isn't, I know a lot of people are probably looking down on Denver outside of Broncos country and saying like, the Texas defense is going to come in and, they're not going to go and put 40 points on them like they did the Cowboys. But any given Sunday, Libre, any given Sunday, I don't think that the Texans offense is better than ours. And the Texans defense is definitely better than what they currently faced. But again, the best way to beat any defense is you tire them the hell out on that field. And that's exactly how the other teams that have gotten victories over the Houston, that's what they've been able to do, Libre. You keep that defense out there, you wear them out, eventually they're going to make a mistake. And that's where the offense needs to capitalize, is forcing them to make mistakes and putting points on the board because it's a road game. So the Broncos, unfortunately, have not had the best luck in road games. So look at those 2 losses they suffered, and they were through field goals. So I'm really hoping that this game isn't decided by a field goal, Libre. I would much hope that they go out and they put points on the board and have a much decisive victory, like a 2, maybe 1 touchdown lead at the most.
You know what? One thing is our defense is so good that I'm not even worried about their offense, and I don't feel it's going to be that close. They'll be lucky. It's going to be garbage time if anything if they get points. But I feel like our defense, with especially with Greenlaw coming back and how you said it, we're going to stuff the run. Like it's going to be a hard time for that offense to do anything against us. Yeah, it might be a low scoring game because their defense is good, but I do feel that our offense is starting to hit on all cylinders itself, and they're putting something together. And if we can go in there and start running the ball, if we can run the ball in this game itself, trust me that it's going to be a blowout, just like how we did against the Cowboys. And it's not going to be even close if we can get that run game going.
That would be a fantastic way to go into the following week. Where you said it's Monday Night Football against the Raiders. I'm not
Thursday
even
night.
Thursday night. Sorry. I'm not even looking at them. I'm looking past them, because if you can walk into Kansas City at 8-2, and basically Kansas City is playing catch up. They
Oh,
have
yeah.
to win. They have to win their games just as much as we have to win ours. and they have to hope that the Texans beat us and that the Chargers lose as well, so that the Kansas City Chiefs can get out of third place. So, but as long as the Broncos can stay ahead and walk into Kansas, I'm guessing it's in Kansas. No, that's not in Kansas. Into Denver. I'm sorry, because the Christmas game is going to be in Kansas City. So if they can make the Chiefs walk into Mile High, a game that you're going to be at, and I'm already jealous that you're going to be at that game, Libre, at 8-2, and basically challenge the Chiefs and say, "Hey, you guys want to be number one? You got to go through us."
Yeah.
That is definitely going to be for some of the best football we'll see all season.
I'm excited for that too. I know we're jumping up ahead of time, but just already the anticipation for that matchup already just is already there because how they say Kansas City is now coming up and they're actually playing some good ball right now. It's like I like being the underdog team right now still. Like how you said earlier that they need to give Bo Nix his due or whatever. Let them overlook us. Let the league overlook us because when we're coming in, they're going to understand like, dang, where did this team come from? Because they're not giving us the attention that we need. And I'm okay with that because the national media, the national narrative, whatever the case may be, is that the Broncos are coming out of nowhere and surprising the league itself. I love that aspect of it. Being the underdogs, let's go.
I wholeheartedly agree. Although I will say, D'Amico Ryans is doing a pretty good hell of a job on that defense because he's a defensive minded coach, is what he was when he
Oh
came
yeah.
from San Francisco. So I got to give credit where credit is due. Those guys are out there, doing their thing. But again, the best way to beat any defense is to wear them the hell out. And it goes for any of the really good defenses in the league, not just Denver's. So I definitely do see them winning this game. Like you said, Libre, if they can just avoid making mistakes like they made this past week, where the communication has to be there. You have to be able to make sure that your wide receivers are where they have to be, and that the ball gets placed where it has to be, and not behind, not bobble it up in the air. None of those things that just leads to mistakes. Because one thing you cannot do is gift the other team an interception every single time or more times than you're comfortable with and expect your defense to go out there and bail you out every single time, Libre. Can't do that.
No, not at all. But I just want to shout out to one of my followers here on my live on TikTok is Colorado Spartans. They are the arena, like it's almost like an arena football team or whatnot, but they're here playing at the Denver Coliseum. So anybody that's out here in Colorado, I want to give you guys personal invitation, especially from the Colorado Spartans. Let's go out there. Let's support them. I think it's a semi-pro football team itself, but let's get out there and support them, man. Like I want to go out there. Hopefully we can get do maybe get a show out there, do something with them as well. So I was just saying, possibly I could be Spartan Libre or something like that. That'd be freaking cool. So think of something to do out there with you guys with the Colorado Spartans. I definitely want to check it out.
Well, I was leaning more towards if you've ever seen the movie 300, Libre,
Oh yeah. Or
you
I was
could
also
be
thinking of Gladiator. Are you not entertained?
the next Gerard Butler.
There we go.
But you know what? Kind of just to kind of go back a little bit, Libre, because I don't know if you told us enough about your experience at for the tailgate and everything that you went through
Oh
for
yeah.
the seats. I was telling Libre before the show that I was really proud of him that he was holding up the hash brown, because to me the hash brown is the only good part of that McDonald's breakfast menu, because I do not like anything else except the hash brown.
So if you guys haven't seen the video yet, I have it posted on my Facebook page. I have it posted on TikTok and all that. But yeah, and that was the only thing that I also wanted to be holding up because they showed us the egg McMuffin. They showed it with a coffee and then the hash brown. And I told my friend and my son, I said, you know what? The only thing that I really want to hold up is the hash brown. I go, the other two, I go, that's not my style. But when they came by and they were handing us out the cutouts, I was like, the hash brown. I go, that's the one that I want. And then the rep from McDonald's came over and handed it to me. And then let me tell you, the experience of it like was phenomenal. Like n- not only just to be able to be part of that, just to be up on the jumbotron, to be up there and helping promote breakfast for McDonald's itself, but it's being able to meet. Like there was Ronald McDonald was there. I was able to meet with him and talk to him for a bit, talking with the reps. But they upgraded my seats. My seats are in the north stands, the fifth level, right in the middle of the Bronco horse, like literally right in the middle of that Bronco horse of the seats in the fifth level. I got upgraded all the way to section 123, row A1. Let me tell you, A1. It's not even row one, it's A1. So I feel like what A1 stands for is like the ADA section of the seats. If anybody is aware of, like, they do the upgraded seats for some fans as well for the iconic seats that they do at the stadium. It's literally right next to those, but it's like 50-yard line. If I was any closer, I'd have been sitting on the bench with the Cowboys at that point. Like, I'm particularly really like seeing the frustration that they had, especially CD Lamb, every time he came off the field and they weren't able to get in, and how frustrated it was. Literally, he was about 15, 20 feet away from me. And being able to see that, that was just so wonderful to see, just that itself. But what was nice is like you were right there within the action, like you were almost there as well. So it's like so fun. Oh,
And
here we
Tim
go.
Dog saying he was happy for you, bro. Best tailgate host out there.
Well, thank you so much, Tim Dog. Let me tell you, Tim Dog, he's going to have his show starting tomorrow. Everyone, come out and listen to his show as well. But yes, what like we weren't planning this game to be a big tailgate. We're planning to have it, somewhat a little bit bigger. It just happened to get bigger and bigger, so it almost matched my tailgate that we do for the week one of the season for the last several years, when I have and host the crew up from Mexico. Like, it matched that type of energy. Like, it was crazy. We had what, six, seven spots that we took over. We had lots of food, lots of drinks and all that. And it's going to be a fun time. I'm going to have another tailgate here coming up for that Thursday night game. I say that it's not going to be big. You, it probably end up is going to be big as well. If anybody's out coming to that game, please see us, see lot C10 as well. I'll have plenty of beer for everyone as well.
You guys heard it here, folks. You guys can hang out with Bronco Libre next week, not this Sunday because it's an away game. Next
Thursday.
Next Thursday. Sorry, I keep saying Sunday. Next Thursday night, you can hang out with Bronco Libre, and I think he charges $30 pictures and autographs, if I'm not mistaken. But that may have gone
to
up.
Adan. Payable to Adan, he says.
Yeah, I'm an agent. But ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of regulation, which means it is time for Libre and I to go into some overtime.
Let's go. Loud. Like I was just telling my TikTok, boo him real loud because of that bull stuff on your head.
Hey, what are you
I'm gonna do
talking
it like
about? What are you
Right
talking about? What are you talking about?
Like that. You know what that
Oh,
means?
my hat. Oh, dude. It's a new
That's
thing.
so fail.
It's a new thing we do around here. Johnny loves it. I was talking to him about it the other day. He's like, you should wear the hat more often. And I was like, you know what, Johnny? You make a good point, because he loves the Bulls. He's a Bulls fan underneath. He just does a whole Nuggets thing. You guys are all Nuggets fans, and he doesn't want me to feel like
That's funny.
The ugly duckling. But yeah, unfortunately, our boys are down by 2 points going into the half, guys. But keeping faith alive.
Game over.
Undefeated. 4-0, baby.
Game over.
But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Broncos Overtime. This is the part where Libre and I let down our hair down figuratively, and we talk about anything on our minds going on Normally during the offseason, we just kind of rant and rave about stuff that bugs the hell out of us. But during the regular season, we give our picks for the upcoming matchups for all of the other games that are non-Bronco related. Oops, and I dropped my pen. But you'll be happy.
So I want to ask you. I want to ask you about the Chargers game last week.
Yeah. I'm not going to say you were right, but you weren't wrong. I'll say that much. But the chat leads with 75 points. Libre is right behind with 74. And for the first time, I'm in the back with 71.
Ouch. So I had a great week this last weekend because I remember being back 3 points and I pulled up to 2 with the chat.
Yeah, well, let me just say that I'm disappointed in Carson Wentz and any of the other picks that I picked. I will say, though, shout out to Cam Scatterbo. Man, I can't.
Ouch. Ooh.
Can't wait to see you next year, brother. I do not wish that type of injury on anybody, regardless of what team.
No, not at all. And then that just came out. I don't know if you saw the report that came out today with him too, that he had a open tibia fracture as well. If you don't know what that means that the bone was sticking out of the skin, like it broke skin.
Yeah.
And so he had to have emergency surgery that night because of that type of break. And then he tore some type of ligament too. So like he did a lot of damage, and man, hopefully for a speedy recovery for you. One thing about what my son kept on saying last week when we played them, he goes, "Man, Scatterboo's the goat, my goat. That's my goat, Scatterboo." I go, "You need to stop saying that. We're playing against him. Stop saying that." But to see that type of injury to any player, I don't wish that upon any player in the league. I don't care what team that you play for. But yeah, speedy recovery to you, Cam, not Scam, but Cam.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We have Thursday night football. We have the Baltimore Ravens at 2-5 going to visit the Miami Dolphins at 2-6. Libre, I did not have the Dolphins winning this past week. It kind of sucks when you don't get it right and you see a team play like they should have played week 1, and that's exactly what we saw from the Dolphins. The Ravens beating the Bears without Lamar Jackson was a big surprise, Libre. I also was not expecting it. I don't expect this game to be a barn burner. I do know that Lamar Jackson is slated to come back tomorrow. So with him in there and Derrick Henry, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins start their fire sale on Friday. But I don't think that the Dolphins are going to win this game. So I'm going to say Ravens.
Everyone's with the Ravens right now. The chat said it too.
What do you say, Libre?
Ravens.
Oh, okay. I thought you were thinking about it. Like,
no. Yeah, we're all going with the Ravens.
All right, moving to Sunday night, we have the Chicago Bears at 4-3 going on the road to face the Cincinnati Bengals at 3-5. I should have never picked up the Bengals defense. -4, Libre.
Ouch. And you lost by 2?
I lost by 5. Losing to the Jets was just embarrassing, Libre. Embarrassing. Like
it is embarrassing.
Jets. And now the Bengals they're in trouble because Joe Flacco has an ACL sprain, so he's questionable to start on Sunday. And if he can't go, it's going to be Jake Brown. It's going to be the Jake Browning show again. And it's really hard to trust Cincinnati, even with Joe Flacco, without an injury. But with an injury, I unfortunately cannot pick Cincinnati. The Bears had a really bad game in Chicago, I will say. In Baltimore, but I think they'll bounce back for this game. So I'm going to say the Bears win this game.
Who do they think beat them? The Bears. I'm going with the Bears as well.
Okay, I see Bengals in the chat. Ty Walden, he's saying, quick hello. Ty, how are you, my friend?
What's happening, Ty?
Thank you so much for stopping by. I want to, if you ever need Juan Mark says, I don't know, Bears. Ty, if you still need me to come back and be a guest on your show, please send me an invite. I had so much fun with you guys last time. I want to come back and talk because that's what I do. I talk too much. Your cousin said, I don't know Bears. Okay, Bears. Let's see. Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings at 3-4, going to Detroit at 5-2. You know what I saw that really made me laugh before we went on the air, Libre? There was this guy on TikTok who says that the Minnesota Vikings should trade for Kirk Cousins.
I saw that too. I was like, that is hilarious.
Like, how crazy would it be if the Vikings traded for Kirk Cousins and not only trade for him, but they'd have to agree to eat up some of his salary cap?
Not
Because let's
some, they
see,
would have to do it all
I would
unless
say some. I don't think
Atlanta.
they take all of it. I would. They'd probably reach a deal with Atlanta where it's like, okay, we pay half and half. I would say, but not the whole thing. But even so, it's like even if you bring Kirk Cousins back, I don't think that's going to solve anything, and it would just be more egg on the face of Minnesota because it was just like they should have never gotten him until they were sure about JJ McCarthy, to be honest with you. But money over everything. The Lions are coming
Oh
off of their
yeah.
bye weeks. Bye week. Jameer Gibbs looks like, man, I got run over by that dude before they went on their break. So I'm going to say Detroit wins that one.
I'm gonna go with the Leones as well. So does the chat.
Lions. Cool. Next, we have the Panthers at 4-4 going on the road to Green Bay at 5-1-1. Hard to believe that. Well, I still count that tie as a loss. I don't care what nobody says. But the Packers got a really nice win against the Steelers on Sunday Night Football last week.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you were the only one that went Packers. So first. And Carolina, Andy Dalton was like a deer in the headlights against the Buffalo defense last week, Libre. He looked terrible. And here I thought he was going to be like the better option over Bryce Young. So even if the Panthers get Bryce Young back for this game, that Packers defense is more than likely going to – Micah Parsons should have another feast. And Jordan Love is playing some really good football. It's kind of hard to pick against him. So I'm going to say that the Packers win that game, Libre.
Go Pack, go. Same.
And chat says Packers. Cool. Next, we have the Falcons at 3-4 going on the road against the New England Patriots at 6-2. Now, I haven't read anything about how Michael Penix is doing, if he's slated to come back, but
I think he's still day-to-day. I think that's what I saw earlier today.
But after we saw from Kirk Cousins against the Dolphins, it was just kind of like one of those, like, how do you lose to Miami? Miami, who's playing even worse football than you guys. And it's getting even harder to defend Kirk Cousins because that was his game. That was his time for him to go out there and say, hey, you guys made a mistake by benching me, and now I'm going to make you pay for that decision. And it was just terrible. That entire Falcons offense was terrible. New England is like right up there with Denver in terms of playing some really good football, really good coaching. Mike Vrabel turned that team around a lot quicker than I gave him credit for. And I don't see that stopping this weekend, Libre. The Falcons do have a solid defense, but that's not going to be enough because look what they did to Cleveland. Drake May got sacked like how many times, and he was still able to put touchdowns on the board. So I'm going to say New England wins that game.
I'm going to do the same. I'm not saying it, but the same.
Next, we have the San Francisco 49ers at 5-3 going on the road to MetLife Stadium against the New York Giants at 2-6. This might be like the IR Bowl, Libre. Between these two teams, they have so many hurt players. Like, it is crazy. And it's a miracle that the Giants aren't sellers. I thought that they would probably want to deal some of their defensive key players, like a Brian Burns or a Thibodeau. But I don't know how old Brian Burns is, but I don't think he's part of like that young rebuild. Came from Carolina for pretty cheap. I don't know if Brock Purdy's going to start or if they're going to roll with Mac Jones, but it's getting kind of hard to pick against Jackson Dart. The loss that the Giants had last week pretty much happened because Cam Scatterbo's injury took the life out of the Giants. And ever since that injury happened, they were not the same. And the Eagles just ran all over them after that. So if the Niners weren't so beat up, I would have picked them. But I'm going to say that the Giants win that game.
Bang, bang, Niner gang. Let's go.
And Libre, of course, being Libre goes the other way. And 49ers for the chat.
See, next, like the chat's wanting to keep up with me. You're already so far behind. I don't even think you can catch up anymore.
Yeah, 3 points, buddy. Indianapolis Colts at 7-1 hit the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4-3. Now, we talked about Steelers earlier. Supposedly, Jacoby Myers was linked to going to the Steelers to give Aaron Rodgers some wide receiver help, but the Colts, I mean,
they're good. That's crazy on how good this team is. And already talks about Jonathan Taylor being MVP, a non-QB, to actually win the MVP itself. And the last time that it happened, Adrian Peterson, 2012. Like, it's crazy to think that's been that long that with an MVP on the offensive side was not a QB. Is crazy to think about. And for me itself, I think that the Steelers team is not going to be able to handle them. And I feel like Jonathan Taylor is going to run again, and he's going to have a multiple touchdown game again. Not because he's on my fantasy team or anything, but he's going to have multiple touchdowns again.
Yeah, a possible MVP player they're talking about there, Libre. Yeah. And the Colts only lost one game, and the Steelers have the most expensive paid defense in the league, Libre. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not.
They're not playing anywhere near what they paid for. TJ Watt was damn near irrelevant this past Sunday against the Packers, and I don't think he's had anywhere close to the season he's had over the last couple of seasons. So I think the Colts are going to win that game just for the simple fact that unless the Steelers do a revamp or get some help or something, it's going to be a rough time for them in that division. And you said Colts as well, right, Libre?
Correct.
Okay. Next, we have the Chargers at 5-3 going up against the Tennessee Titans at 1-7. As much as I would love to sit here and tell you guys tighten up, I honestly can't. There are like a million things wrong with Tennessee. There was definitely egg on their face when they were chanting Mike Vrabel's name when they played against Tennessee 2 weeks ago. They should have never let that man go. That was like the dumbest thing that organization did, was let him go, and watching him flourish with a new toy in Drake May and just turning the Patriots team around since Belichick left, which is something that a lot of people were not expecting to happen for quite a long time in New England. So, I picked against the Chargers last Thursday, and that came back to bite me in the ass. So unfortunately, gonna have to pick them this time.
Who are you picking?
Chargers.
So my thing is, coming into this week with the Titans, Tyler Lockett asked for his release, and then he goes back and signs with the Raiders. My thing is, it's like the only reason why he did this was because of Pete Carroll, because that's who he knows. He played for Pete Carroll there in Seattle. And I even told my son this. I go, is Tyler Lockett wanting to lose to the Denver Broncos 3 times in a year? I feel like that's what he wants to do. But with that being said, because he wanted his release and was granted there and with the Titans, yeah, like how you said, they're in shambles. Like they're going to be right there at the number 1, 2, 3 pick for this upcoming year as well. But the Chargers, I think, are going to actually destroy them pretty good, because they're still a good football team. Even though I hate to say it, they're still a good team right now. But that's what I love about our division right now. We have us, we have the Chargers, we have KC, that it's making us push each other right now to be there on top. And if you have that one little mistake, it's going to happen pretty soon. It's going to happen where one of these teams will make a mistake, and it won't be the Broncos. It'll be KC or the Chargers that will lose one of these games here soon, and that's going to just help solidify us there being number one in the West.
Agreed. Next, we have the New Orleans Saints at 1-7, going on the road against the Los Angeles Rams at 5-2. Libre. Rams are coming off of their bye week. They had a nice big win over Baltimore before their bye, and the Saints, they're. I
They
feel
just
like
announced their rookie quarterback to be starting over Spencer Rattler for the rest of the season today as well.
oof,
Yeah, so that's right away. It seems like the Saints have just thrown in the towel right now for the season, halfway through, and yeah, I see the Rams winning this game.
yeah, I do not envy Kellen Moore. I think maybe he thought he could try to change Spencer Rattler, but if you saw that on that interception was just that was terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Not only did he intercept the ball, but he literally walked over Spencer Rattler like a bad Madden animation.
Yeah,
Like,
the glitch in Madden.
yeah, that was bad. So again, Kellen Moore is going to be well, I don't know. As an offensive coordinator, he led the Eagles to a championship. As a head coach, I think he's starting to see that it's going to be a whole lot tougher than he thought. So next we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at 4-3, going on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders at 2-5. Now the Raiders are coming off of their bye week. As Libre just stated, they picked up Tyler Lockett, who was released from Tennessee. The Raiders, I will say, from the article that I read earlier today, and the guy made a really good point, the Raiders need to get draft capital. They need to rebuild. This team that they have, whoever they can get rid of and get for the highest draft pick possible, they should definitely get. Jacoby Myers, it's definitely one of them. I know that they said that they weren't going to move on from Max Crosby, but again, I said this from the beginning. Pete Carroll was not the right answer. Bringing in Tyler Lockett to reunite with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith they're only missing Russell Wilson, and then they can have the, nice little reunion and call themselves the Seattle Raiders at this point. They definitely should not be signing anybody outside of an injury designation. Tyler Lockett is not going to come in and make that offense better overnight. He's definitely
No.
not. He did some fantastic things for Seattle in the Super Bowl. He was a great asset next to DK Metcalf for a couple of years. But let's face it, folks, he is not going to go in there and light up that board. The Raiders have so many issues. Jacksonville, also coming off of their bye, should definitely put the work in and fly out of Vegas with a win.
I think the Jags are going to win this game as well.
And by the way, I still regret picking Ashton Genty as my first round selection. But shout out to my friend Eric for trading him away from my team. And now he's dealing with the aftermath. Next, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at 5-3, going on the road against Buffalo Bills at 5-2.
Ooh, big matchup here.
I'm surprised this wasn't flexed into the Sunday Night Football game, Libre.
I don't think we're that close yet for the flexing of games.
I thought they could flex it at any time, to be honest with you. But every time I read that headline, Libre, I always think about Josh Allen and the Bills getting robbed during that divisional last year, or not the divisional, the AFC Championship, where Josh Allen was definitely over that, got the conversion, and they didn't give it to him. By the way, that virtual assessment thing robbed Washington on Monday night. That was some bull crap, bro. Zach Ertz was definitely over the line, and that should have been a first down. And they had him down by like a yard or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
So I think that the Bills get their revenge here, and I think Kansas City goes down. So I'm going to say Buffalo.
I agree. It's in Buffalo. I feel like the Bills and Josh Allen and company are ready to go and give this team a new one, just to have that bad taste in the playoffs. So, Bills Mafia, let's go.
And then we have Sunday Night Football, ladies and gentlemen. The Seattle Seahawks at 5-2, going on the road against the Washington Commanders at 3-5. Now the Commanders are a whole lot of beat up, Libre, more than I probably even realized. So they're
Oh yeah.
literally limping into this game. Terry McLaurin has already been ruled out for this game. I just needed Terry McLaurin to make like one more crazy catch like that, and I would have won my fantasy week, dude. 5 points away. And they pulled him in the middle of the fourth quarter, which was already GG. And I had McCroskey, the running back, too. They pulled him too. He was playing terrible. Only had like 2 points the entire freaking. Seattle's coming off of their bye week, Libre, so they're going to come in like a bat out of hell. And they're going to walk into Maryland, and unfortunately, they're going to lay the smackdown. The only saving grace is if Jaden Daniels gets to start. But even then, without his weapons,
No.
there's not much he can do. And if it's Mariota, it's definitely not going to be a good day at the office. So I'm going to say the Seahawks win that game.
I'm gonna say, just like my primo said it, the Sea Chickens.
And then Monday Night Football, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Arizona Cardinals at 2-5, coming off of their bye week, going up against those pesky Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys are going to definitely be heated, and they play a whole lot better at Jerry World. The Cardinals have a quarterback problem, Libre. What's his name?
Kyler.
No, the backup quarterback for Arizona. Why can't I think of his name? The one that came playing for Kyler Murray.
Oh yeah.
He's
I don't even know his name. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of his name right now. But he's been playing better than Kyler Murray has been playing. So, like, they don't know what to do. They don't know who to give the keys to and say, hey, go out there and beat Dallas. Now, Dallas, again, they play better at home. I think that unless they get Marvin Harrison involved heavily, then they probably won't win this game. But the way the Broncos put the blueprint out there to beat Dallas and the way they put the belt to ass to the Cowboys, I don't see the Dallas offense having 2 bad games in a row, especially being shut out of the end zone in terms of passing touchdowns. Now, it could be Javonte Williams running the entire game and, having another 2-3 touchdown game probably. But I don't see the Cowboys losing this game. So I'm going to say Cowboys win.
I am going with the Cowboys as well. So this just only means that now
Jacoby
that we've picked
Brissett,
all this.
Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Primo. That just means that we just tie again. So I'm 1 game behind still with the chat. And I'm going to be another game ahead of you because we picked 49ers and you picked that other team.
Well, that could all and well happen, but if it ends in a tie, Libre, it throws off.
Oh, hey, that just fell.
Yeah, it fell as I put it up on top of my printer because I didn't put the paperweight on it. But it could. Again, I hope we don't. I really wish they would do away with ties, Libre. I wish it was like.
Well, I'm not talking about a per se tie. Like I'm talking about more of I'm tying. Doesn't matter what our record is at this. At the end of the day, with me and chat, we're gonna end up tying because we picked all the same games.
Well, you do have a point there. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the overtime segment of today's show. Libre and I would definitely like to thank all the people that were here with us
all
today.
The supporters.
Shai Vargas, Juan Marquez, of course. Who was in here earlier? Ty Walden, thanks so much for stopping by. Tim Dog 14, Jay Weaver, D-Rock, of course, always coming in and saying, what up, though? And the Mahai Medlock. I know I saw you in the chat over at with the Nothing's Wrong with guys yesterday. Thank you guys so much for being here with us. It's definitely been a pleasure to be able to entertain you guys. And of course, shout out to the TikTok audience. I don't think anybody's watching me right now, but thanks for those that stopped by, looked at me, went, ugh, and left. But before we get out of here, just want to let you guys know you can please subscribe on the channel, share, comment, and like on this or any of the other videos that you guys have seen. If there's something you guys heard me and Libre talk about that you don't agree with, or disagree, whatever it is, and you want to discuss, please feel free to hit the comments, and we will definitely answer you with the best of our ability, I guess you could say. And of course, if for any business inquiries, you can email at broncostalk2020@gmail.com. For our audio listeners, regardless of what platform you're listening to, where you get your podcast from, 5-star reviews are always well appreciated. If you like the screenshot, you can send it to us and we'll give you a shout out live right here on the air. Our Twitter handles are right there at the bottom of the screen in case you can't see them. Mine is at a 6'10" Mexican. Bronco Libre is at Bronco Libre 5280. Again, shout out to Dubby for being a continued sponsor of this and all the shows here on the Orange and Blue Network. If you use the code OBN10, you get 10% off your order at checkout. Shout out to Dubby once again for being a continued sponsor here on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been our... What's up?
No, I was just like, you're finally done talking.
Oh, yeah. And update, the Bulls are up 94-84 on the Kings. Yeah.
It's about time. It's the Kings, bro.
We're going to get that. Don't go to sleep until I text you, Libre, when we get that 4-0, okay, buddy? I know you'll be up. I know you'll still be up, so better make sure you read my message.
Right.
But, ladies and gentlemen, please, friendly reminder, we will not be on the air this Friday for Viva Los Broncos because it is going to be Halloween. So
this is Halloween.
Yeah. What are you dressing up for Halloween as, Libre? I forgot to ask you.
I think I'm gonna dress up as Bronco Libre.
Oh, you know what that reminds me? I'm gonna send you a picture, but when I go home, there's this billboard where this guy looks exactly like you, but he has the Bears logo on his mask, but the color is almost the same. And I almost hit the brakes when I went home the other day, but it changed. I was like, oh snap, that looks just like Bronco Libre. But by the time I got my phone up, it was one of those electrical boards and it changed.
Okay.
And I had people honking at me, so I couldn't wait for it to come back.
But you know who it is? I think it's somebody that I do follow as well on all my socials, and he goes by Bear Mysterio.
I think that's who it is too.
Yeah.
I was like, the amount of people that it's kind of like a multiverse of what would Libre be if he wasn't a Broncos fan. I've seen on with the Cowboys logo. I've seen one with the Bears logo. And it's like I feel like I have to explore the universe and see what the other Bronco Libres, or not Bronco, just Libres look like, and get them all in a room together to make sure it's not actually Bronco Libre, masquerade
right
outside of Sunday mornings.
You can't see me, like John Cena said.
Exactly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head on out of here. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get live notifications when we go live. But he's Bronco Libre. I'm Adan Diaz. This has been Broncos Talk here on the Orange and Blue Networks. And with that, we say good night, good day, whatever it is you're listening to. And as always, go Broncos!
Go Broncos!
Woo! And the Bulls.
Broncos Talk.